For this tutorial, we'll be using scrap yarn. So this fine yarn, I'm going to double it to achieve the sport weight yarn. So you can use the sport weight 1 strand or the fine yarn double strands, 4.5mm crochet hook, pair of scissors and tape measure. So you can also use one color of yarn for the whole cardigan. You don't have to use scrap yarns, but I decided to use scrap yarns for the sake of this video, and I also have a written pattern on the blog with only one color of yarn. So I'll leave the yardage or the quantity of yarn that you need for the whole cardigan. To show you a rough sketch of what you're going to make, we're going to start by working one large granny square that measures 30 by 30 for size extra small through to size medium, but this one is relative. You can increase or decrease the length and the width of your square. And then after working the square, you're going to add these rows on the side so that it measures longer width-wise and then shorter in the length. I hope you understand. So this one will be shorter, and then here we'll have a longer width. So the measurements of the rows that you're going to add, the granny's stitch rows, is going to be 5 inch on both ends. And then after you've worked your one big rectangle, so square plus 2 sides of rectangles, we're going to fold it and then work on this neck band, then add short sleeves at the ends. To begin, I'm going to take my yarn and then make a slip knot. So you can start with the magic ring or chain 4 and connect it to the first chain to make the magic ring. So it's chain 4 and then join it to the first chain with a slip stitch. Then you're going to slip stitch in the ring that you've just created to start our first round. So for the first round, you're going to start by chaining 3. This chain 3 count as our first double crochet, then yarn over and work 2 more double crochets in the same ring. Then chain 2 and place 3 double crochets in that ring. So 1, 2, then 3, chain 2, place 3 more double crochets in that ring, chain 2, and work your last set of 3 double crochets in the same ring. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, chain 2. So when you have your 4 sets of 3 double crochets, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to join it to the first chain 3 with a slip stitch, and then we're going to turn our work. So chain 1, you don't have to chain 1, then turn your work, and our row 2 is going to be on this wrong side. Slip stitch in this next chain 2 space, then chain 3. So remember, the chain 3s count as our double crochet at the start of every round. Then work 2 more double crochets in that space, chain 2 and place 3 more double crochets in that chain 2 space. So your first set of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet is complete, and you're going to repeat this in every chain 2 space. So this next chain 2, you're going to work 3 double crochet, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets in that same space. So remember, we didn't chain any chain between these two sets. So what you're going to do not chain one, just go in the next chain 2 space, work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, then go in the last chain 2 space and repeat the same 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and I'll meet you at the end of round 2 when you're joining it to our first chain 3. At the end of round 2, you're going to join it to the first chain 3 with a slip stitch. So locate the third chain, have the first, second, and the third slip stitch, and then you can either chain one or just turn your work a slip stitch in this chain 2 space here. After slip stitch, you can either chain one or just turn your work, and then in this space between our 3 double crochets, you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through that loop on your hook. Then you can chain 3. This chain 3 count as our first double crochet, and from this round, the round 3, we're going to work only one set of 3 double crochets in these spaces that we didn't chain. So the spaces between 3 double crochet, you're going to place only 3, and then in the chain 2 spaces, you're going to repeat the increase pattern by working 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So since this is not a chain 2 space, just add 2 more double crochets because the chain 3 count as our first double crochet. And then in the next space, it's a chain 2 space, so we're going to place 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, 2, 3, chain 2, then place 3 more double crochets. In the next space, it's not a chain 2 space, so you're going to place only 3 double crochet. The next space is a chain 2 space, so you're going to place an increase. So increases are 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. The next space, it's not a chain 2, so place only 3 double crochet. So repeat that until the end of the round, and when you reach the last space, it's a chain 2 space, you're going to place 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, then join it to the first chain 3 with a slip stitch. Then we'll turn our work and continue with that pattern. At the end of the round, you're going to join it to our first chain 3 with a slip stitch. Locate that top chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, then pull through the loop on your hook, turn your work, slip stitch in that space, then chain 3, and add 2 more double crochets in that same space. The next space is a chain 2, so you're going to work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and then in the next space, since it's not a chain 2 space, just place 3 double crochet, 3 double crochet in the next space until you reach the next chain 2 space where you'll work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So you're going to repeat that all around until you reach the last space. So this last space, it's not a chain 2 space, so you're going to place 3 double crochet, and then in these 2 chain 2 spaces, we're going to work our increases, which is 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and single sets of 3 double crochet in the spaces. At the end of round 4, join to the first or the third chain on our first chain 3 with a slip stitch, And then another way to turn without slip stitching in this space, you can either, after working your slip stitch, chain 3, then turn your work and continue by placing 2 double crochets in that next space. So 1, 2, and then next space it's not a chain 2, so we're going to work only 3 double crochets. And then in the next space it's a corner, chain 2, place 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So you're going to repeat that pattern, working only 3 double crochets in the spaces between 3 double crochet sets, and then in this next chain 2 space or the corner chain 2, work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So you're only increasing in 4 spaces, these corner chain 2 spaces, while all the other spaces just work 3 double crochets. So finish round 5. When you're through, I'll show you how to change colors if you're changing colors. If you're not, just repeat that pattern until your work measures 30 inches by 30 inches if you're working extra small through to medium, or 34 by 34 if you're working larger sizes. So I went ahead and finished my 5th round. I'll go and cut my yarn and then grab the new yarn and what you're going to do, you're going to tie this new yarn around your previous yarn and fasten it, then grab this previous yarn and also tie it around your new yarn. Then pull both ends of your previous and your new yarn until these knots meet. And then after this, you can go ahead and cut these ends. Magic knot is done. So you can go ahead with the pattern, locate the 3rd chain, work a slip stitch, then chain 3, turn your work, and in the next space place 2 double crochets. Go ahead working 2 double crochets in the 3 double crochets in the next space. Then in the corner you're going to place 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So go ahead with the pattern, increasing only in the 4 points. You can clearly see them, these ones. So you'll increase only in this chain 2, this chain 2, this chain 2, and this chain 2. All other spaces just place 3 double crochets. Do not chain 1 between these 3 double crochets. The only chains you're going to make is at the corners, which is chain 2. So go ahead until your work measures 30 inches by 30 inches, and then I'll show you how to add the sides and how to work the neckband. So I went ahead and made 37 rounds in total, and my work measures 30 inches by 30 inches. So what you want to do is ensure that your rounds, you end on an odd number of rounds so that it lines up with the first round. So after round 37, you're going to join it with a slip stitch to our first stitch here, which is the chain 3. And instead of chaining 3 and turning our work, we'll just chain 1 and cut the yarn. So the foundation square is complete, and the next step is we're going to add the side panels. So what you're going to do, because we were changing after every round, you're going to turn our work. After turning your work, you're going to start by working 3 double crochets in this chain 2 space and continue until the next chain 2 space on this other end. If you're left-handed, you can start from this side. Just ensure that you start it on the wrong side, because we ended our work, or we finished our square on the right side. So take your yarn, make a slip knot, insert your hook, yarn over, go in that chain 2 space, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Then add 2 more double crochets in the same chain 2 space. Then in the next space, work 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. And this is what you're going to repeat until the next chain 2 space. So continue, and then I'll meet you in this next corner. So I've gone ahead and I've reached the next chain 2 space, or the next corner. So I'll go ahead and work 3 double crochets in that space. And then, since I'm changing color after every 2 rows or 2 rounds, I'm going to cut my yarn and then take my next color. If you're working with one color, do not worry about this, just go ahead and continue to row 2 with your yarn. So I'll join it with a magic knot. After that, you're going to chain 3. This chain 3 count as our first double crochet, then yarn over, turn your work, and in this next space place 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Then 3 double crochets in each space until you reach the last stitch. So continue, just repeat this pattern, placing 3 double crochets in every space, and then I'll meet you when you reach the last space in this row 2. So when you reach here, I'll show you how to finish off row 2, and then you can continue from row 3 onwards. When you reach the very last space, you're going to work our last double crochet on the standing double crochet, or the first double crochet in this first cluster. So insert your hook in that standing double crochet, then yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So row 3, we're going to repeat our row 1 pattern. So you're going to chain 3. The chain 3 count as a stitch, turn your work, and then double crochet in this space between the chain 3 and the next cluster. Add another double crochet. So we have 3 double crochets. The chain 3 count as our first double crochet, then 2 more double crochets, and then you're going to proceed with your pattern by placing 3 double crochets in every space until you reach the very last stitch. So at the end of our row 2, we've finished the 3 double crochet in the second last space, and in this very last space you're going to place 2 double crochets. So 1 and then 2, and the very last double crochet, you can either go ahead in the same space and work it, or locate the third chain on our first chain 3. So that is what I'll do. I'll locate our third chain and then work in that chain. So work your last double crochet in that chain. You can skip this and just work a double crochet in the space. There won't be much difference. And then for row 4, you're going to chain 3, turn your work, and then in this skip the 2 double crochets, and in the next space place 3 double crochets. And then 3 double crochets in every space until you reach the end of this row. So continue, place 3 double crochets in every space. When you reach the end of the row, I'll show you how to end it, and then you can go ahead and work the repeat pattern until you finish the side panel. At the end of your row 4, you're going to locate the third chain on our first chain 3, and then insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So that is your last double crochet. Now what you're going to do from here on, you're going to repeat row 3 and 4 until you have a total of 10 rows, or your side panel measures approximately 4.5 to 5 inches if you're working the extra small to medium. If you're working large to 2 extra large, it should be from 6 inches onward, depending on how wide you want your cardigan to be. So I'll go ahead and repeat the 2 rows. When I have 10 rows in total, I'll meet you, or when my row measures 4.5. So I went ahead and made 10 rows for this side panel, and at the end of my 10th row, I'll just chain 1. I already cut my yarn, so I'll chain 1 to fasten it, and then turn to the opposite side. So on this side we've finished on the right side, and on the opposite side we're going to start working our first row on the wrong side. So still on your right side, you're going to turn your work on the wrong side, and then start from this chain 2 space. For this opposite side, you're going to repeat everything as we did on the first side panel that you've already completed. So make a slip knot and then start with a standing double crochet. Make sure that you're working your first row on the wrong side. Then work your standing double crochet, then add 2 more double crochets in the same space. Go in the next space and work 3 double crochets. Continue placing 3 double crochets in each space until you reach the last chain 2 space here. Work 3 double crochets, then turn your work and repeat every pattern as this side. So I'll leave the transcripts below. You can go back and check how we did it. Finish the 10 rows or your 12 rows or your 8 rows, depending on the number of rows you did on this opposite side. When you're through, chain 1, cut your yarn, and then we'll join the sleeves together, then work on the neckband. I went ahead and finished my side panel rows, and this is how the work looks like so far. It measures 40 inches across and then 30 inches tall. Now the next step will be to join the sides so that it forms like a cardigan. The right side facing outwards and the wrong side facing up or facing you. You want to bring these side panels to meet here at the center, and then you want to mark 5 inches for the sleeves. So depending on how wide you want the sleeves, you can measure 4 inches, 5 inches or 6 inches. And then let's just do that. Measure 5 inches, and where the 5 inches is, you want to mark that space on both sides. Just to ensure that they tally, you want to confirm if they correspond or the space correspond on both sides. Perfect. Do the same for this other side. After marking those spaces or where you want to put your sleeves, you want to go ahead and grab a darning needle and then join this panel or this part together. Either way, you can do slip stitches, you can do whip stitch, you can even single crochet those two sides together, or work the mattress stitch join. So just go ahead and join those sides together until you reach this space. Since it was not a chain one space, you're going to finish joining on these last double crochet stitches of these granny clusters. So when you're through with joining them all the way, go ahead and join this other side, and then I'll meet you when you're working on the neck ribbing and then finishing off with the sleeves. When you're through with joining the sleeves, we'll proceed to working the neckband. And to do that, you want to lay your work flat. I'll leave a video on how you do it because this workspace is not enough to show you. So this is what you'll do. You'll lay it down and then mark the two corners at the bottom, because this is where we're going to start our neckband and then end it on this other side. We won't work on this bottom row. We'll start by making a slip knot. And then you want to go in that stitch next to your marker on the neckband side. So you want to go on this stitch next to the marker, then yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. You'll have 3 loops, then yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops. So this is our standing half double crochet, and you'll go ahead by working half double crochet in every stitch until you reach the opposite side marker. So after working in every granny stitch, and you're here at the granny rows, you want to place 2 half double crochet around every stitch. So after working your last stitch on the last granny stitch here, you're going to go in that space, work a half double crochet, then half double crochet around the double crochet stitches. So you're going to place 2 around each double crochet stitch. And you continue with that until the next granny stitches here. So you'll continue by placing 1 half double crochet on every stitch all the way to the opposite side where you'll have your granny stitch rows. So you'll place 2 around every double crochet stitch, And then when you reach the last set of your granny stitches, you're going to place 1 half double crochet in each up until you reach your stitch marker. So after working all the way around your neckband and you've reached the last stitch to your marker, you're going to chain 1. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Then turn your work. So row 2 is going to be on the wrong side. To start, you're going to yarn over and then work a half double crochet back loop only. So in that stitch, locate the back loop. This is going to be the front and then this is going to be the back. So you're going to insert your hook in the back loop, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops to finish your stitch. Yarn over, go in the next stitch and do the same. And you're going to do this all the way to the opposite side, or to the first stitch of our first row. When you reach the very last stitch, instead of going through the back loop only, you're going to go through both loops at the top and work your last half double crochet. Then chain 1 and turn. So from row 3 through to row 11, you're going to repeat our row 2 pattern, work a half double crochet back loop only in the first stitch, and then do that for every stitch until you reach the very last stitch. When you're at the very last stitch, instead of working back loop only, you're going to work through both loops. So continue, and then I'll meet you when you're through with your 11 rows in total. After working 11 rows of the neckband, you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn at the end, and then weave that tail inside of your work. So when you're through with your neckband, you'll turn to the sleeves. Already made one side of the sleeve. Now what you'll do, you're going to remove now this marker. Then grab your yarn, the one you're using for the edging, make a slip knot, insert your hook, and then yarn over. So we're going to join it, or we attach it to our sleeve with a standing double crochet. So after yarning over, you want to go in any stitch right here where we joined. So go in that last stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through. You'll have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all the 3 loops. So that's our first standing half double crochet, and you're going to continue working half double crochet in every stitch until you reach the last stitch to our first standing half double crochet. So just yarn over, insert your hook in those stitches. This is our right side, so work on the right side of your cardigan. So continue placing half double crochet in each stitch all the way until you reach the very last stitch, and then I'll meet you when you're joining it to our first standing half double crochet and then starting on round 2. When you reach the very last stitch, after working your last half double crochet, you want to insert your hook in the very first half double crochet and then work a slip stitch. Then chain 1 and turn your work. So working from the wrong side or from the inside of your sleeves, you're going to yarn over and work 1 half double crochet in the very first stitch, and then work half double crochet back loop only on all stitches until the end of the round. So continue placing half double crochet back loop only all the way to the last stitch, and then we'll join it and I show you how to start row 3, and then you're going to repeat row 2 and row 3 until you achieve your desired length of the sleeves. I've finished my round 2. and you're going to join it to the slip stitch to the first stitch. So go through both loops at the top, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through that stitch, then pull through the loop on your hook, then chain one and turn your work. The chain one counts as our turning chain, so it doesn't count as a stitch. Then for round 3 we're going to yarn over, go in the very first stitch, work a half double, and then from here all the way to the last stitch you're going to work half double in the back loop only. So turn your work, insert your hook in that back loop and work your half double crochet. So you're going to repeat half double crochet back loop only on each stitch to the last. When you reach the very last stitch, you're going to join it with a slip stitch to the first half double crochet, going through both loops, and then turn your work. Row 4 you're going to repeat row 2 pattern, row 5 you're going to repeat row 3 pattern, and continue repeating those 2 rounds, sorry not rows, those 2 rounds until you have 9 rounds in total, where you have your desired length of the sleeve. So I'll meet you at the end of my round 9. After working 9 rows, you can chain 1 and then cut your yarn. Pull your yarn through that chain, then tighten it, and your cardigan is done. So from this point you'll go ahead and weave in the loose ends that you have. So I have this one, I have one at the bottom, and then the very center here. So you can go ahead, weave in all your ends, and then enjoy your cardigan. So again, I'll leave a link to the written pattern in the description box below, so you can check it out for other sizes. And until next time, please stay safe. God bless you. Bye. Thank you so much for watching.